Hello guys, it's Mark from the SAR68 in France, and today we have the Traxxas Sledge in the house. It's not an unboxing, you know, I'm not a freak of doing unboxing, but I'm a freak for doing detailed review. That means this truck is new, you haven't driven it at that point, but we're gonna talk about anything at the car. What's new, what's not new, what we think is not so good and what we really like on it, and we're gonna begin from the end point until we get in the differential, in the intake from the car. First of all, we were all disappointed to discover an Arma Kraton. Sorry, but we had already the Arma Kraton since 10 or 12 years now. I had the V1, V2, V3, V4, V5, DXB, so why have they done this? It's okay, I can understand they want to go to 1/8 scale standard truggy size so people can go on a track with the truck, which was here, especially in France, not possible. When you go on an off-road course with Traxxas, and most of the time they tell you, oh no, this is not the right size, it's not an official stuff like Kyosho or Serpent stuff to drive on a track, we don't want it. In this case it's no more a problem. All you have to do is to put standard truggy wheels on the truck to go on-road. What was not possible with the e-Revo, because they take the e-Revo, and it's in this case it's a monster truck. The e-Revo is a real monster truck with a higher chassis in the center, no way to stop the suspension to go to super long travel, a reduction gear in the center, and of course big tires. We have still big tires here, but how I said before, you can just put truggy tires on it and you are in the standard size for a 1/8 scale truggy. So then they really copy the Kraton, even to the wing. Okay, it looks better than the Kraton. I don't like the Kraton. This part is too small, and the body is too short, and I would say we already see it so long time ago. It's really time to see something else. But they do that for purpose of publicity, because anyone is talking about it because of that. So it's on us, it's anytime on us. They just do what we please, or they give us a little ball to see if we're gonna play with, and we do it. They know we are big kids, so anyway, even if we are not happy with the way the trucks look like, we're gonna buy it. And keep something in mind, I'm not an Arma freak, not a Traxxas freak, not a hater from Arma, not a Traeger from Traxxas or Horizon or something. I like any RC. Anytime something new, when I mean a car, RC car comes out, because this is what I like, I'm gonna check it out. What I not like is to get a car who is not worth his price. That's the biggest issue, like the Axle Rift. It's really a mess from a car. I'm really not happy. The Arma 8S series is crap for me, sorry, but this is a 1/5 scale, or the MCD R5, but the Arma 8S series is crap. So we all know that's the Arma 1/8 scale series are really good. They are anytime a little bit tougher and tougher and tougher. They still have one big issue on this truck, and this is the Spectrum electronic, but Traxxas does not better, and the differential inline. So Traxxas made the choice to do something like that, but they improve several things. First of all, they do not the failure to done too small buggy size differentials, because this is a big issue on all new competition truggy. The old series, when you take an old RCIT, put monster truck on it, a smaller pinion for the motor, there you go. Techno RC all the stuff, no problem. But the new series, I test all, the HP 817, the new X-Ray, the Losi X series, S-Works, all the stuff, not hold really properly 6S, sorry, with Proline Badlands on it. We have really issue with the small tiny tools at the differential, who by any move from the plastic or side shocks where the CVD hits the bottom of the drive cup, push a little bit the differential from the wrong side, rah, there it is, you have overspring your tools. That's what I like at the Savage Flux with the 29.9 pinion gear in there. That's what I like at the T-Magic E6. The T-Magic SAS, T-Magic goes even put this big differential tools in the buggy. The B8ER has monster truck differential size in there. That's awesome. I like this at the Hobau MT Sport, MT Sport Plus and MT2 of course. In the Traxxas case, at eRevo Traxxas Max, and of course the toughest from all, the X-Max differentials. I like that by Losi at the Losi R8, Super Baja and Super Rock Ray. And in this particular case from Super Baja Ray and Super Rock Ray, what I love the most is the telescopical CVD. They are just what we need on any truck. Why? Because it's important to have telescopical stuff when you hit from the side. Your A-arm and upper arm do that, so the CVD go and hit the bottom from the drive cup. In the Traxxas case, they chose at the eRevo Max, at X-Max and X-Max, to make a fuse part from the drive cup. That means when forget the name, the round part from the CVD hit too hard the bottom from the drive cup explodes. So you have less stress in differential, and that works. And it's also easy to get at the drive cups from the outside. You can change it without put anything away, just one screw at suspension, flip the wheel off, and you can change your drive cup. And as I discovered that one, first I was disappointed by the look. Now I have one here, I have to say, looks like cool anyway. And I was disappointed to see that we can no more change this drive cup from the outside. It's a standard size, what we are used to have in 1/8 skill. That means that the drive cup go in the differential and the pin holds the drive cup, and also the planetary gear or sun gear, depending how you tell it. Here in France we say planetary gear is the big one, and satellite are the small ones. In German they say sun gear for the big one and planetary gear for the small ones. But we understand us. Tell me, how did you say it in English, please? So, I miss also, we're gonna begin with what I not like at the first view on the car. We miss a front bumper. We have a small tiny truggy size bumper here, like competition truggy, but I don't like that because we have absolutely nothing to protect the shocks if something comes here. That's something I do not like, because with a T-bar bumper, when you hit something, the most of the time when you see you're gonna hit something, what did you do? You go on the brake, you go down, and then you really hit hard. The best thing to do the most of the time is to hit the throttle again, to lift the truck in the front so you go up what's coming on. If you can. If it's a wall, it's too late. So, this gonna be hurt really fast. I really prefer a front bumper. They don't do it so you have a great and big angle when you are coming flying that way to land and go over. It's clear if you have a front bumper you lose a little bit from that angle, but because it's a basher car, it's an author for hobby driver, I really think that a big bumper in the front with a T-bar, maybe something you could easy flip off for go on track. For those who want to go on track, sorry, just a moment. My nose is laying out. Yeah. Here we are at the real life. We don't make cuts in the videos. We also not prepare the video. I just put the camera on, put the car on the table, and then we talk together. So, then we discover all the aluminium chassis. We even don't know which alloy it is because they don't tell about it. They just tell the shock tower are 6061 T6 alloy, but we don't know if the chassis is so good as that. We have here something we already seen on other cars, and no, Arma is not the first brand to do that. We had back in the time chassis with such stuff. That's nothing new, absolutely not. We have small bumpers with skid plates, it's also nothing new, but it works, so I'm happy to see that at the truck. We know that Traxxas has good plastics. That's major fact, so I have no fear for the A-arms in all the plastic part on the truck. I'm really a freak from plastic chassis because we see it at Evo Max, X Max. It's for bashing really tough. And if you destroy something, it's just a small part you can easily remove in easy change. Any car with alloy flat chassis has the same issue. You can do what you want, you anytime finished with a bent chassis when you go too hard. And maybe they can do what they want. They can make the tough twice tougher. Someone always gonna destroy it. This is not the point. You want just something tough enough for drive normally. And those who send the car in the trees or on the walls, how I say, they're gonna destroy anything anytime, so we don't care about them. We want it just tough enough to ride a year long without any issue. So I hope we're gonna get this. Then I miss turnbuckles. If this car is made for go on track, also why are no turnbuckles on it? Are all fixed point plastic parts. I like this, even if it's you cannot adjust anything. I still like it if it's done the right way. A really good example for that is, even if the car is bad, the HPI jump shot is a really bad series of car, really price high, and you get really nothing for that money. But two spots there at the HPI jump shot are awesome, because the kids can really roll over the car and roll over the car and roll over the car and never break something because the wheel just flex in. So that's something we gonna see here, because at the X-Max I love it for the steering, but at the Max I was disappointed because we has really fast wear at the end points. The bolts comes fast out, so I was a little bit concerned. Now I have it here, I can say okay, it's tougher at what I mean, so we hope it's gonna be okay. The rear ring, this is something they learn. It's a flex wing. We all mess the best wheelie bar of the world from the Traxxas X-Max here, or from the Max, because these wheelie bars are really awesome, but because it's a standard size truggy, they don't put it on and they do something else. Here you have a little bit more plastic, which is made for hold and pop the wheels here easy. Because the ring is really flex, so we don't have to fear to destroy too fast here the holder or press too much at the shock tower. That's a nice thing. Suspension out from the box. This is something Traxxas are really good on, is suspension and bring power to the ground. when they put the right tire on it out from the box, because Traxxas Rustler and Traxxas E-Revo has absolutely crap tires. Sleepy tires and non-long-lasting tires. It's really bad tires. At the Traxxas Haas we have Sledge. They're a little bit too hard but resistant. Now we have the Max V2. It's also good tires, and we really hope that the next series of E-Revo gonna get out from the box the Traxxas Sledges, because I love this tire. They are lightweight, 320 grams, only one tire. That's 80 grams less as the EXP tires from Arma and the Corally Punisher stuffs. They are still soft, and not like the all the new stuff we had, HP tires by Proline, EXP tires from Arma, MFT by Louis RC, and the harder from all, the Jetcores. Jetcore tires are so hard you cannot use it off-road. Sorry, I drive 2 hours on-road with Jetcore off-road tires, and I have a really big fun. And I was really happy to see that the tires even don't have any wear. They hold more stress on-road than on-road tires. So all those tires are also heavy. You have to point with 400 grams for this size of tire, 500 grams for monster truck tires, and this is way too much. This cuts you the legs out from the truck. You lose power at on-throttling, it's longer for brake, it's harder on the landing, and most of all from that tires has no real grip. We need soft tire. That is what they done here. Because what we love off-road and truck is our Proline Badlands, so they go for something like that. They also still are soft enough to balloon, and that's nice, because in the air with no ballooning tires it's really difficult to pop easy front backflip TikToks or double backflips and all that stuff. So we need tires. Personally, I really like tires for balloons, but just not makes too big pizzas. Back in the time I really loved the HPI Savage Flux tire. They were soft, lightweight, really resistant. You can make with the tire really too big pizzas. The problem from too much ballooning is that you lose the ability at high speed to really drive nice the car. The car begins to really, you feel like an airboat on the water. And that's wrong. So we need just between of them, like on the Proline Badlands. I like the Proline Badlands for that, because you have a little bit ballooning but not too much. You still have a nice control at high speed, and you have a nice air control, and that's what they done here. So that's a good point. Of course we have the roof bar. That's also nothing that Arma has invented, and many from us make that themselves 4 years ago. When you look back at my videos in 2016 at the first Traxxas X-Max 6S, I have done myself such roof bars. I do not invented that, and I'm happy to see that many brands comes with such stuff. I want to see also more protection in the front here, and like Traxxas does here, something to cover the shock tower. That's also nice. I really like that. So now let's go in the truck. The body mount is really easy, like at the Traxxas Corvette or TRX4 Bronco. Two fast snap system in the rear, slide in the front, and then you discover maybe the strongest roll cage Traxxas has made at this point. This roll cage is tougher as this one from the Traxxas X-Max or Max or E-Revo. You even have here that part more. You have the whole laying around from the body, like the Traxxas Bronco. Really, they really over toughened this. It's useful because the truck is heavy. We have here 5.7 kilograms without battery. That means this car with battery is heavier than the Kraton EXP. And remember, Kraton EXP has heavier tires. We have heavier light tires, but still a heavy truck. We are so heavy like the Corally XTR 2022. which is still not a good truck. The Carrosserie V1 was a totally mess, and especially because they claim to be better than Armour. Zero. V2 is a duct tape version from the V1. That's never good. And 2022 version XTR are Gorilla taped duct taped. It's even not okay. So until now, we're gonna see is in six months or a year what's gonna happen with that truck, with the time, in the wear and in the toughness. The Armour Kraton is still way on the top in the lead. So I liked it, but it's heavy. This body weighs 350 grams. That means that body is heavier than an unbreakable body. I have here a truggy style body. I put it on the weight scale there. I have the same weight before cutting all out what I need. But what's cool, it's that we have here a complete package. We have nice tires, we have good suspension, we have a body who's gonna hold on in time, just not the front. And for the rest we're gonna see. Because nothing is better for me than to have to buy a car, expensive, like eRevo, 750 euros in France, and get only at eRevo, you have to change 4 tires. That means 100 more for have 4 nice tires. That means you are 750, 850. Then you need a real servo, because the eRevo servo are really not good, and you are around 900. You take a max, when you go for the first one, the V1, 650 euros before the V2 comes out, bad tires, so also 100 more for the tires and 120 more for have real CVD, because the plastic CVD are not good. So we are at the same point. Now we have the Max V2 with good tires on it. We have still the weak motor. Sorry, that's something I forget in the Traxxas Max. For me the motor is way too small and really leak of power, high end out, and because it's so small it needs too much power, too much amps, and go too high in heat. If you have a Max V1 or V2, try it out. Put a 4247 motor in there, 4274, sorry, 2000 kV or 2200 kV in force, still in force. Like the same pinion. You're gonna lose a little bit of end speed because you have 200 kV less, but you're gonna see that the heat is the half, and that the truck drives longer, and that he has much more power underneath at the beginning. Really from 0 to half throttle you have twice the power. So I'm on the way to lose myself. So I want to show you something. Why did they not do something more like that? I really think this one looks better, way better. You take this at this level here, have to cut a little part out from the rear to put the body maybe a little bit more down. So this looks really nicer. This is a nice body, not the Kraton. And you see here that T-Magic has not weight all the other for do protection. This is something T-Magic does way before Armour was on the market. So, in a car, they choose to put alloy chassis, alloy shock towers, but 6061 T6 alloy, not machined. These parts are stamped. Stamped parts are not the best because you stretch the material and it's weaker. We see it Hobao at the VS1, and you take an Hobao VS stock and make 1 or 2 landing on a roof, you're gonna bend your front shock tower. And at V2 they choose the same alloy but not but machined, and the difference is that after 20 runs, even run it harder, I still not have bent anything at my hobble. So for this price here, we have here 850 euros. I really expected Traxxas to do better than that for the alloy, and because they use that type of alloy like Armor and Corelli, they are so heavy. That's the problem from this truck. This alloy, you have to put more from that bad alloy to be so tough as higher quality. If you take 7076 T6 alloy, you can make only 4mm shock towers, even with some more outcuts, looks nicer and have tougher stuff like Techno RC. Look at a Techno RC shock tower. They don't need anything more. They don't need a stiffener, a brace, an upper brace and an upper stiffener. They just not bent because it's really tough and nice and lightweight alloy. So they choose that because it's costless to do. But it's not really something who excited me for that price. So Arma does the upper brace, not V1, not V2, I guess about the V3, but it's still also not an Arma invention. This type of construction are also something we had back in the time. The old chassis was under an upper deck. It works fine. Then they choose to do just chassis brace to have some flex in off-road and have more room in the truck, and now they decide to stiffen again the truck and put some more stuff on it, but more stuff is more weight, is also not absolutely the best. Traxxas choose a T-bar instead of a road. What's a good choice because a T-bar bent less than a road, but it's a little bit heavier. You also choose to have a flat junction here and not a ball end. What's also better because you have no plate, so no wear front and rear. It's absolutely totally stiff. They do beefy plastic on it, and we know, how I said before, that the Traxxas plastic are really tough. I really like it. So we have a standard brace in the front, but 2-point fixation. We have a long rear brace with 2 fixation, even 3, no 2. And we have added here some short brace here to not bend the back. This is also not something with copy by Corelli, because they are also not the first to do that. Back in the time we see that even in ZD Racing, and you know ZD Racing are cheap cars, but even them has done that because they use too weak alloy, so they have to reinforce all the truck to not destroy it. So Traxxas, instead of Velcro straps, used this well-known system now for lock the battery in. At X-Max I never have any issue to lose a battery with that system. At the Max it happens to me because I put the system a little bit higher to put a higher LiPo in there, and the problem was I had too much space between the laydown and the lock system, so the battery can go out size-wise. Here it's not gonna happen because they have done a higher battery tray. It's 180mm long, it's a 60 brightness, so you can put really fat LiPos in there. You can put 2x3S, 1 4S, 1 6S. We even can put 8S in there using Jan's Ace bashing 4S batteries. Maybe or not? Not. Can we put it one on another? Not. So to do that, we're gonna change the system. We can raise it here. Can just unscrew it, put some spacer and longer screws to raise the system. Many people surely gonna put that away and put just 2 standard Velcro strap on it because it's fast and easy to do. So we have the heavyweight and big VXL6s here. It's the same size as VXL4 and VXL8. That means we easily can put an VXL8S system in there, but not on the motor size. Here we have this new Traxxas motor. I want to tell you something really nice about that motor. I was also concerned about that because at the eRevo and Traxxas UDR we have the 2200 kV motor, which is the same outside. They claim 3274mm, but you know, I unscrew anything. I opened the motor at the eRevo back in the time, at the UDR also, and we see that they joke us out, because in this 74mm motor was only an 68mm stator and rotor. That means the motor has less power than a standard 74mm motor. That's the old real Traxxas motor, Castelnau Mamba Monster 2200 kV. That's why Euro 2 not performed so much powerful as the Euro 1. That's also why the motor always cooked out, even at UDR. Many people cook this motor out because it's just too weak for this heavy weight with this end top speed. So, but in eRevo we have a reduction gear who allows the truck to even drive nice with a not powerful enough motor for this heavy weight, because the eRevo is still by 6 kilos. So it's a monster truck. It's a heavy car, and here we have no more reduction gear in there, so they have to do something different at differential, because first we all hoped to get the Traxxas eRevo or Traxxas Max differential in there, because they are really tough. We have big tools on it and you can break it, but I tried. For break these differentials you have really to drive bad or try to do really bad stuff with the truck to destroy it. But regarding the fact that you have no reduction gear, they cannot put such big tools at the differential, because the reduction would be too small. So they do something new. That's why also we have no more drive cups we can change from the outside. So I hope these drive cups are harder, and because, how I say before, at Evo Max and X Max you have fuse part. The drive cups are fuse part, and here in that case, if it's still a fuse part, it's a problem, because you have to put all the diff out and pull all the diff apart to change these drive cups. So I hope they are harder. So, oh, I lose myself at the motor, sorry. This 2000 kV motor, I opened it in the French version. Now it's Sunday evening when you see this video. For me here in France, it's 8 p.m. So maybe in Canada it's about 6 hours earlier. That means it's 2 p.m. In Memphis, Tennessee, it's 1 p.m. I guess, 7 hours of jet lags, or 8. Was it 8 or 7? Tell me, six shooter, how time it is in in Memphis, Tennessee, here when it's 8 p.m. So in the first version at 8 a.m. So for me here that means in the night. For you guys from America, I disassembled this motor, and we see with joy that we have a real 47mm rotor in this motor, and also clearly the stator. That's why this motor has more power than the 2200 kV. The Castle 22, not the Castle 2, the Traxxas Velinon 2200 kV is okay in a buggy or a really lightweight truggy by, I'm gonna say 4.5, 4.7 kilos, maybe 5, but no more. And regarding the fact this is gonna be 6.3, 6.5, depending of battery that you put in the car, this motor would be way too weak for push this out. And here they go also back to a real motor. That's really nice, and I hope that all new trucks who are gonna coming out next time, and also the new production from Evo 2 and UDR gonna get this wheel motor in there, because this is really nice to have back a real 74 can motor. So the motor mount is like HPI Forza Flux. The motor is locked in these parts and not just locked in there, it's also screws from the front, so this motor cannot move anywhere. And also not forget, these Traxxas motors has, the most motors are in 3 parts. You have front, center and rear parts, and this motor is extruded. That means you have no front bolted parts, it's one part and it's bolted in the front at the motor mount. That means it's impossible for this motor to move anywhere. No flex, nothing can move here. We have a center diff with 20 million CST oil, like in the X-Max or Evo. That's nice, because this gives us a real power distribution on all 4 tires without being like no differential. When you let the throttle go, you have a speed differential between front and rear, and that's nice. I really like this type of oil in these differentials. And we have a soft steel main gear, and not like what we have, and normally at off-road cars we have main gears with the tools ending that way, because all what gravel comes to fly or splitting out from there, they choose here a flat tooth. The tools in the end are really flat, and that's concerning me a little bit, because we have no more what we have anytime by Traxxas. It's why I love Traxxas, also a fully closed main gear. And this is no more here, the case, it's open. So the dirt can go in, and if something go between the tools, you know what happens. You're gonna, the best case, you destroy the motor pinion. Second case, you destroy main gear, and the worst case of all is destroying a motor. We all had that issue by driving off-road with different type of car, not just Arma, but Kyosho, X-Ray, Lozi, all that stuff. That stock 1/8 scale system with these open gears here are not okay when you go to bash in a gravel pit or something. So I hope here to have no bad surprise. Maybe I'm gonna do something before I'm gonna drive. I'm gonna make here with a sheet of Lexan and my heater, I'm gonna make something here to cover this, to close it. The ESC is big and heavy. The alloy are not the best, so they are fat. That's also heavy. We have heavy and fat plastics for the A-arms. That's why this truck is so heavy. But the suspension, I said before, is really nice done. Front and center diff are not too soft, but also not hard. The center diff is hard. And there we go to the steering. We have even steering with bearing, even if it's not absolutely useful to have bearing at the steering. Seriously, you don't absolutely need that. I'm concerned about the Ackerman bar, who has only 2 millimeters alloy. It's a really thin Ackerman plate, and we see that many brands have issue with that and bending. So I really hope this is gonna hold on. Maybe it's gonna hold on because we have really flex parts here, but I don't know really. The servo saver is underneath, and the screw is out of reach. You have to put something away to go to this nut here and tighten the servo saver. I really don't know why no more brand put the servo saver in the top, like Hot Bodies or something, just to have an easy access. Here you have not. And then we have the strangest thing here. Finally, Traxxas goes serial with Metal Gear servo. Wow, that's nice. But they use a crawler servo, yeah, this is a servo for crawler. This servo is okay in the TRX4, but has nothing to do in a fast off-road car. This servo is the slowest from all the market. In generally, we have servos who pull out 0.60 seconds from one way to zero. That means 0.3 seconds from full left to front, full right. And this servo pulls out in 6 volt, because you only have 6 volt, 0.25 from one side to zero. That means a half of a second from the fully left to the fully right. And there you go, like called zeros at the highway. You have to do that so the car still goes straight. Because it's so slow. It's gonna work, but I don't understand that. That's really wrong. The servo can take 7.4 volts, but Traxxas has absolutely nothing in mind to do new ESC pulling out 7.4 volts. So what is the point to put a 7.4 volt servo in a car who cannot have it? If you want it, you have to change your ESC. So no point on an RTR. It's really this servo is not at the right place here. So that's really something who is boring by Traxxas. Anytime they do that since 20 years. Anytime we have weak servo in the car. Many other brands also do that, but in the last time you see that Arma has done better servos, Corelli has better servos, and Losi had better servos. Hobao has good servos, and Traxxas still do wrong at there. In the E-Revo we have wrong servos, in the Max we have a slow servo, in the X-Max we have a slow servo, and now in this car we still have a slow servo. So I really hope they're gonna do something here in the next series. So, stock out from the box, you have also shoot covers in the rear, that's fine. You have super good shocks. These are the shocks we have at the Traxxas Max. 5mm shocks. Arma has 4mm, but really not so bad steel, so you can bend it, but you have to really provoke it. Corelli has 3.5, really too weak. The Arma shock shaft really bend fast. But Traxxas decided here to keep the 5mm from the Traxxas Max. That's fine, because I really had never an issue with Traxxas Max shocks. So that's a nice point. We has also screwed spring holder underneath. That's also nice, because many brands continue to do such stuff. You can lose. And a screw is not absolutely necessary. You see it by Obao, they just do some system with a clips who holds even the spring in place. What's really nice done. I like the suspension rate. The way it's feel out from the box. This car feel really nice at suspension. We have a nice travel, and unlike Corelli, we can go higher. Because that's an issue by many brands we see last time. That with too much angle you had the CVD shaft who hits the drive cups by full down rate, and the most case we have this issue here, that when we are at full compression, this part touch the drive cup, push the drive cups aside, and this means stress in the differential. That's what happens to Arma in the front. If you not put bump stops on your Armas, the suspension goes too far up and you squeeze the drive cups and press the differential together. This especially happens at Losi 3XL. When you bump out in a hole, the chassis goes way down, all two drive cups are pushed together, and you squeeze the in-life from differential and destroy it. That's something Traxxas checked out, so we have not that. The other thing that happens is that the pin from the CVD hurts also the bottom here, when you fall down or fall up, and you have same type of issue, and in most of the case you destroy the outdrive. We see that at the ZD Racing DBX07 at the T-Magic says in the front that you cannot use your full suspension travel, and Carrosserie does the same mistake. The dog bones are too long, the dry cup's too short, and you cannot use the full suspension travel. What's nice here, when you put the shocks away, you can go more down, that the shock is long, without have any issue from this type of this destruction. So that means you can really go at higher points to have more ground clearance. I'm a freak from suspension travel. I really like cars with high ground clearance and long suspension travel. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna push this car to its maximum height, not make the suspension harder so it still rides at the same height, but you're gonna have more suspension travel because I drive really big off-road. If I go just in a flat field, it's clearly that I'm not gonna push it higher, maybe I'm gonna push it more down. For this you have here like standard 1/8 scale grub screw or screw, normally in the arms who touched here the chassis, but this is an option here. For 850 euros you have even now grub screw. You have also no sway bars, and someone who wanna go to a track with this car putting standard trucky tires has to buy separately extra sway bars. So the price is higher than expected in the end. That's not so good. I don't like that. I think really for that price we should have sway bars, we should have the screws, the grub screws, and we should have at least 6061 T6 machined alloy shock tower chassis and pin holder. Because here, like by Arma and Carrosserie, we have a really cheap alloy stamped part. I put the car together, it's the French version, and even not looks nice. It's just really okay, it's done. That's not something I like, not for that price. In the front it's a 5mm, all over are only 3mm. By copying Arma they done 3 mistakes. First, also this little bar here, like by Horizon Hobby, typical stuff, no adjustable, but you can do it at your TQI, you have a sub trim. Okay. They done the same body as the Kraton, that's also not nice. But what they don't copy right is here. By Arma, they think something really nice. The chassis holds the brace. So even if you hit hard, the brace cannot be bent. Here the brace is in the nothing. That means if you hit hard at the wheel and this alloy plate gonna be destroyed or bent or something, it can move backwards, so it can pop off your suspension. You have a little plastic part here touching here the mud cover, but that's gonna happen. I guess by hard landing that we gonna pop out the suspension arms. But this is something, I said before, you only can see after 20, 40, 50 runs. Cannot speak about it just now. I just tell what I feel with my experience from RC cars. We're gonna see what happens really at the field, but not just in a week or two. We have to wait 6 months, a year, to see in the end, after 6 months, a year, and many drive times, what really happens with that truck. So I think also we're gonna bend front shock tower because the whole body system holds on it. So all bumps, all crashes gonna hit that shock tower. Even if you have here a bar and something hold, it's beneath here. That means here and here are the biggest chance to bend the shock tower. That's why I need a really harder shock tower, and especially a really beefy T-bar bumper. I maybe gonna put a T-bone bumper, or not T-bone, sorry, RPM bumper from Arma underneath here to have my T-bar. That's clear. So, I opened the diffs, and it's good to see. I also put the tires wheel and the spindle away, because I want to check out something by the bearings. I went to myself, okay, we have not the best alloy, we have beefy alloys, that's heavy, okay. But Traxxas has good drive lines, not like Arma and Corrali, so the steel, I mean, they use is not bad. So why is the truck steel so heavy? Because we have bigger differential. The differential really, like they say, it's no joke, 20% beefier than all competition truggy differential, inclusive also Arma and Corrali. You have twice bigger tooth. That means even something move, even if you hit something, because the problem is anytime the same. When you have no telescopical CVD, when you hit on the side, how I say before, A-arm and upper arm do that, and the CVD gonna hit the outdrive here and push the differential by side. If it's the side where the two pinions are together, you squeeze it. Look, in this case of many times you survive it. The worst time is when you hit from the other side, so the space is higher between the tooth and the tooth oversprings. So that's this typical noise from rah. And when that happens, when you have two small gears, it happens faster and they are destroyed faster. That's why I like my X-Max, because the tools are so big in the X-Max and also in the 1/5 scale cars, that even if you move a half a millimeter, that means you can move so much the differential before anything overjumps. And even if it overjumps, it just makes clack clack clack. You put it right now in place and you can go away without changing anything. And in the most of all our cars you have a diff destroyer. So I hope really that this bigger differential, bigger tool is gonna hold on well. What is nice is that standard 1/8 scale buggies and truggies use 60.8 millimeter bearings. We have it outside the wheels and in differential intake, but inside the tires, output differentials, even in center differential, we have bigger bearing. They also beefed up the bearings. That means if it's good quality bearings, it's clear. If it's bad quality, it's useless to make bigger bearings. But if they are so good, like at the X-Max or Revo or Max, we have here really beefier stuff at the driveline. So in the end effect, we have a Traxxas, we have something like the Creighton, higher in price, but we have, for me, because I used to work with Traxxas transmission, also with Arma transmission, and at my Revo, at my Max or X-Max, I open one time a year the drive lines, and it's a major fact that by Arma you have to open it really often. You have really to change often the oils, the shine and all that stuff. It's also something I don't like by many other brands, to have 150 shimes at all the cars to shine. You have to shine the diffs, you have to shine in the diffs. By Traxxas, you just put the diff together, put it in, no shine. Obao has also this system and it works. So why can Obao and Traxxas do stuff you not have to shine, while many other brands have a tons of shine on there? T-Magic has also this issue. That's the shine between the sun gear and the drive cups, after 10, 50, 20 times disappear in the oil. You have no more. It just started. It's just dust. and all the dust is in the oil, so the oil can no more do its oil job, and that's bad. So we hope for that price that the driveline gonna be so tough that we expect. And if it's the case, if the A-arm are also so good that the Arma ones, because we all know the Arma A-arms are really good now since V4, V5, EXB arms. And if you really have no much to do at the car after you run 10, 20, 40, 50, 40 times, then even if it's higher in price at the beginning, we're gonna be happy. And this is for me the case with the Traxxas X-Max, Max and E-Revo, all those three cars. They are not perfect like any other brand, and any other brand you have to do something, change the servo, change that, do better bearing in the car, put screws on a car where not rust just by night by looking out if it's not wet, if it's a little bit wet. And my X-Max, even if I drive it wild, cost me so less in 1 year that even if it's a high priced RC in the beginning, that at the end of the year it's cheaper in the end effect that many other cars who are cheaper where I have any time to replace some part. We also have in the arms some, like by the UDR, some plastic parts you can easily replace with carbon or alloy parts. You can do it yourself, just put this out, make the form at the carbon plate, cut out the carbon plate and put the carbon in there if you want more rigid suspension. Keep in mind, as more the suspension arms are rigid, better the suspension works. This is okay when you're at a carpet run, but not for bashing, because if the suspension arms are too hard, you're gonna destroy more at the end from the arms. So more chance to break an arm or a C-hub or something. Speaking of C-hubs, they don't go for bowls, so you're gonna have no issue with pop out a bowl. That's nice. They do also new CVDs, because at the Max E-Revo X-Max the head from the spindle is in the bearing. It's catched in the bearing, and the bearing is a steel cage, so it's reinforced. It's reinforcing the spindle. In this case we have steel spindle, not like at the Traxxas X-Max and alloy spindle. That's also more weight, because the CVD is laying out from the bearing. And this has something good, because the bearing is covered by the head from the CVD. That means less dirt goes to the bearing. We also have the same thing here. They done like Hobao, plastic parts who is smaller than the output from the bearing. That means dirt can go easy at the bearings, so the bearing gonna hold longer. We have the strut cover in the rear to protect also the bearing from the rear hubs, but even there we have here dog bones, but the same system with the spindle. That means that we have the same bearing in front and rear, and the bearings are really well protected by the hub, so the chance to have many dirt destroying the bearing like at the X-Max, that's an issue at the X-Max. The bearing is really open to the dirt, and the front wheels really spin the dirt to the rear bearings and destroy it really fast. This is all that stuff you don't have here. It's a little bit bad that we cannot put a bigger motor in there because of this heavy weight. I would be really over happy to put an 82mm motor in there with less kV, or even with the same kV, because a bigger motor has more torque for this heavy weight. I like 68mm motors until 3.5 kilogram cars. I love the 74 until really great maximum 5 kilo cars, but this one is 6.3. So with that weight I really like 82mm motors. And regarding the fact it's really so heavy, under 6 kilo it's okay, over 6 kilograms I really like to get less kV and an ADAS system. But it's just like the fire team, we are just in between, so 6S is enough with the right motor. I know this motor gonna have enough power to push that car. So we're gonna see after drive it what's gonna happen with the heat, with empty row, and if it's too much for me I'm gonna go for a 74 motor with 1400 kV, put an ADAS system in there with 2 lightweight 4S battery to have a smaller empty row, if it's not okay. So for all of you who have already the car, tell me what did you like on it, what did you not like. What would you have different made from Traxxas at this truck? If you don't like it, you don't gonna buy it, tell me also why. You can tell, not if you just tell I hate Traxxas, you are a dumbass, sorry. But because don't, why did you people go on each other for in name of a brand? They don't care about what you're doing, they just want you to buy the truck. So take the car you like, you have fun with, and if they fight together like Traxxas and Horizon Hobby, let them fight. There's no point for me to say, oh, I'm a Traxxas freak, I hate Arma, or I'm an Arma freak, I hate Traxxas. That's something just boring. I love RC cars, I drive all, I test all. I don't like, how I say before, trucks who are worth the money. We had bad surprise back in the time with Traxxas T-Max, E-Max, E-Revo. That was, the trucks were really weak at that point. At that point HPI was better with the Savage Flux. Now at this time now Traxxas and Arma are in lead. HPI is absolutely in the back. They do something like new Savage X and X Flux, but it's still the same old truck with the same problems. We still like it. I have one here. I really like to drive my Traxxas, my HPI Savage Flux. We have also Team Magic in the middle, but Team Magic is really high in price also with this new E6 BES. That's something I don't understand. And we have the cars who really disappoint us. For me, last year I was really disappointed from Horizon Hobby with the Excel Rift. Should be a rock racer, rock bouncer. That means a car who can go fast and rock climbing, and the car don't take it. It just do not take it. The Arma ADAS series V1, V2, XB is way not so tough. It's should be. The driveline is okay, but we have really issue around the stuff. So I'm really not happy with there, especially with the steering. Corrali disappoint me. I get the V1 and I really feel like 20 years before when I get a car who cannot drive more than 5 minutes before something breakdowns. Then they do the V2. I try it. I trust them. I do think, okay, we gonna, yeah, no. So I go for the 2022 version, and we still have again and again and again the same issue with the plastics. Something is better on the truck, but it's still not good enough. Which other truck did we test? What disappointed us really? I not remember, but there was really several car back in 21 who disappoint me, and this is why in 2022 I'm not gonna take any new thing who comes out. I'm gonna do what I do before. I wait 6 months, a year, until several people has tested, destroy it, crash it, repair it, until they have done an upgrade. And then I gonna buy a second hand because it's much cheaper, and just for testing and for going rough with it, it's better for my money. That's all. So again, I really prefer that one as this boring Creighton looking body. I hope the motor gonna be way better than the VXL 2200 kV. I know the tire are better, I know the shocks are good, I know the stuff with the bearing and transmission gonna be good. They use a new glue system because that's also something boring. The last time Proline popped out from the wheel, Louis RC and Duratrax popped out from the wheel, Traxxas Original popped out from the wheel, Arma Original popped out from the wheel, and this is really boring when you're driving and your tire come unglued, especially when you look how much you pay for that. And this is really bad. So I really hope that this gluing system here gonna hold on like it hold and Jetco. The Jetco tires are too hard, too heavy. I don't like to drive it off-road. I use the off-road on-road. There I'm really happy with. And what I really like the most by Jetco tires are the Loctite gluing. It's just impossible to pop these tires from the wheels off, and I really hope that Traxxas has used here something like that. I wait for you in the comment. I want to know anything from you. Why would you buy one? Why not? What have you won? What have you as issue? And all that stuff. And keep in mind, make no war together because of brands. You buy it, they don't pay you. If they would pay you to drive the truck, I would understand that you gonna fight together to say mine is better, no, mine is better, but you pay for it, so don't play their game, let them fight and have fun on your side. Bye guys.